Please be seated now. Our service is about to begin.
Marty. Marty.
Good morning, everyone here in the sanctuary and those watching virtually. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Jersey Shore. We ask that you please place your cell phones in worship mode. Thank you for joining us. We who bring a teaching of hope, who welcome all in our doors, the joyful, the heartbroken, atheists, Christians, Muslims, Jews, straight and gay, lesbian, bisexual, queer, transgender, all who are searching, seeking, looking for more meaning, more service, more love. All of us gathered here together. My name is Marty Quish, and I am your worship associate this morning. I am a member of this congregation for 5 years and currently serve it as a member of our interweave, liaison to the finance committee, a member of the men's group, and I'm very honored to be the president of the board of trustees. Our worship service today is led by Ted Costa. Ted has been involved with mind, body, spirit integration work since 2017. He's a national healer by way of training in a 500-hour non-dual Kabbalistic healing school and a meditation teacher by way of training in a 200-hour yoga teacher training program. Ted is still involved with ongoing healer education in yoga studies and now teaches dozens of individuals throughout the week in personal meditation classes and other outlets. Where he practices his own personal presence can be found within his family, with his wife, dog, and baby boy on the way. His co-owned coffee company, Keep It Real Coffee Company, and also with his personal meditation circles. You can find him online at eastcoastmeditation.com and on Instagram with the same name. Video of today's service will be available on our YouTube channel later today. To those gathered live on Facebook, we welcome your comments as well as your joys and sorrows on that platform. Please remember this video will be on the internet, so do not share information best kept private. Welcome to worship.
That
Welcome into this place of healing. Welcome into this place of challenge and growth. Welcome into this place of imperfection and aspiration. Here you are whole. Here you are holy. Here you are holy Lord. Our chalice lighter today is our host, Teddy Costa.
Go.
All right. I don't have to sing up here. Oh, happy here, Marty.
You just like candle.
Yes. Oh, like candle. Cute.
He just put it out.
While Marty's up here with me, I just want to say thank you to him especially because he put a lot of trust in me. We met 6 months ago, and we just had a beautiful conversation. I really felt at home with all the words he had said about what this place brings to us all as individuals. So I really feel connected in a way, but I'll tell you why more. Let me lay my candle first.
Please join me in reading the chalice lighting words in your order of service. Sacred Unknowing by Amy Carol Webb. We light this flame for the art of sacred unknowing, humbled by all that we cannot fathom in this time. We come to the presence of what we do know, perhaps the only thing we can ever know, that love is now forever, the only answer to everything and everything and everyone.
We're going to sing Please Rise in Body, Spirit, and both, whatever floats your boat this morning. I fell madly in love with Jim Scott over the weekend, and that's where this song comes from. This is May Your Life Be as a Song, number 1059. And what we're going to do is I'm going to sing it once, and then invite everyone to sing it 3 more times. So we'll do a total. And if you know it already, by all means, come in the beginning. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the light and softly serenade the stars, ever dancing circles in the night. One more time. May your life be as a song, resounding with the dawn, to sing awake the night and softly
will now light the children's religious education lantern. We light this lantern for our children and youth, and for us celebrating the flame of faith lighted in each of us, honoring the light each of us brings into the world, rejoicing in the community that we create together. The children will now collect donations for local food pantries, animal shelters, and the Coalition Against Rape and Abuse.
Not yet.
A book is provided in the foyer in which you are encouraged to write whatever joys and sorrows you have. I will now read what you have shared. Asking for, quote, the best thing for my mom. She is having difficulty breathing and is on her way to the hospital. Please send her love and light. Thank you, Gina. And we sure will. Let us share a quiet time together to reflect on our week. During the musical interlude, you may come forward and place a pebble in the water to acknowledge a personal joy or sorrow. Let us be in the spirit of prayer. Blessed and holy creation, universe of wonder, mystery beyond definition. We share today our joys and sorrows, listening deeply to the things that cause us to weep or worry, and lifting our hearts as one at those things we would celebrate together. Our hearts are touched by this shared ritual, and we are connected. We hold in our hearts this morning two of our congregants, Denise O'Mara and Jessica Sen, who are both suffering severe health issues. We hope to send warm thoughts to them and their families. Also, we would like to pray for the people of Ukraine. We pray for those who are apart from us, whether by distance, time, or conflict unresolved. We pray for those who thirst, whether for water, dignity, or justice. We pray for those who are in danger and who yearn for safety. We pray for our small, blue, fragile planet.
Comfort me.
The offering is a sacrament of a free church. It is supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. More than 80% of our annual budget is supported by direct pledges and donations collected through our in-service offering. We hope that you will be as generous as you are able and support the ministry of this congregation. If this is your first time here, let the basket pass. Your presence is gift enough. You can also text a donation to 609-293-4495. Or for those who are participating online, please visit uucsjs.org and click on the yellow donate button for ways to donate. The gifts of the congregation will be most gratefully received. The ushers will now collect the offering. Thank you.
not going to tell you all so much more of what you don't already know maybe as individuals, but still, I'd like to have a great discussion with you. From one individual to so many of you here together. Maybe you've heard the word before, but I feel like, from my view, I feel this is a bit of a sangha or a satsang, which is just to say a group of individuals who come together to support each other's spiritual growth or path. That's all we're really doing together. That's how I feel I'm out there working with people, usually in much more intimate settings where I get to know the name of everybody, and that's just not going to be feasible for me today. So I'm going to talk on a broader level but I'd still like to acknowledge that we're all here as individuals, and we all come from our own lives, backgrounds, joys, pleasures, sorrows. And, so that's basically, we're having a conversation here together. That's how I envision it. And I say I won't tell you too much of what you maybe already don't know, because it feels like we already are doing what I came here to talk about, which is practice. I have a background of a bunch of things that sound fancy on paper, but maybe I don't believe it to be fancy at all. I believe it to be accessible to every single person in the world, to have some sort of practice of what I'll call presence for yourself. Even, I like to use the example, because I do love coffee, of just sitting with a cup of coffee in the morning and having that moment to yourself. I feel like I experienced the meaning of grace for the first time when Gina sang that this morning. I just want to say that Amazing Grace was really done beautifully. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to point to, is that grace that exists on this level within ourselves. I call it a center. There are many words for it. Your soul, your spirit, what have you. Semantics. It's more about what you feel, right? It's what you experience for yourself inside yourself, to know that you are an individual with infinite, incredible worth, value. The world would not be the same place without you. This room right now would not be the same place if you were not in it. So I hope we're all hearing that as an individual that we are. Speaking of informal, it was commented, Cole, me up front. Yes, I don't have anything written down, because I do think it is about doing our best to be in that present moment, as sometimes hard as it can be. So what I do offer are modes of practice. My different backgrounds, first, we can count the first one, Catholic, but didn't stick so well, that's okay. But more or less, I got the point of it after doing some other practices. Buddhism, yoga, Kabbalah, it doesn't really matter what label you put on it. Again, I'm talking about coming toward your center. Even lately, I've been interested in, I call it Chinese yoga. It's just Qigong, but millions of people do it in China every day, but in the U.S., it feels like an alien thing when I say it. Qigong just means to work with your life energy, your own vitality, your own soul, your own presence. I don't think we're going to do a Qigong class today. We don't have to. Do you know Qigong?
Yeah, we know.
Yes.
Yeah. We can do one thing together. You can do it sitting or standing up, because it doesn't matter. And the most important thing is your breath. So it doesn't matter what you look like or how your maximum range of motion or anything, but it is a bit of an active thing. So if you want to stand, let's take the first practice in Qigong. It will be just a few breaths, so maybe a minute or two, and you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to practice. Because, again, that's the most important thing I'll drive home today. Okay. So maybe it's the first time you've noticed you're standing today. I don't mean that you were standing, but I mean noticing you're standing, and your feet are actually connected to this earth that supports you. You can envision how your feet, they have a history to them. They have a lineage that is part of right where you stand. You wouldn't be here without all the other people around you, your own parents, their parents, etc. So consider just for a moment your feet and the connectedness, the rootedness of that quality down beneath you. We're already doing it, by the way. You're already breathing. But now you're going to just take a moment to notice your breathing. And maybe with a bit more intention now, you decide to breathe a little bit deeper down into your lower abdomen. Nothing special about it. This is just the deepest point we can send some loving breath down into our body. This has a bunch of boring physiological health benefits and blah, 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 but most importantly, again, is how you feel this. And your breath. This is your connection to the outside world. This is you, that deep part of your center where you're breathing, meeting the world. So this is the inner world meeting the outer world. We'll do one basic thing, one very basic thing. And it helps if you ever need it. Maybe you'll know when you need it. I won't tell you when you need it. I had someone in one of my classes recently. She had many disabilities, mentally included, and she brought this metaphor up to me, which I'm going to use for the rest of the time because it's so beautiful. I talked about bringing the mind energy. You meet the mind with the body. These are two things that come together. And she said, "You mean like putting the snowman head on?" Yes, that is exactly it. You are attaching your mind with your body. So that's the idea of this mode here. You simply take a breath in, whether you're sitting or standing, and you raise your hands lightly up around that mind of yours, your beautiful mind. And you exhale and you plant it back down in toward the body. So maybe just 2 or 3 of those on your own breath and time. Just an inhale up. Still feeling the connectedness of the earth below you. And using gravity to send the mental energy back down into the body. Just one more in silence. At the end of my practices, I do an internal vow just for gratitude toward yourself that we have this body and mind that we can work with. And then we can take a seat. And I think you got the idea of practice. So if that felt awkward or funny to you, it did for me the first time I did it, just like, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months, whatever period of time it was. Again, so if it felt funny to you, notice that, take that in. If it felt good, you take that in. If it felt weird and you didn't want to do it again, take that in. That's your thing too. Like, there is no right or wrong about this. That's what I really like about having so many different modes of practice that I can go into. For some people it's great, for others they'll do something else. Circulation, yeah. Indeed, okay, we could go down some physiological health benefits. At the very least, I'm just going to leave it with this. When you take more oxygen into your blood, and you give a little bit more place for your blood to flow throughout the body, all you're doing is oxygenating those other parts of your body that maybe during our normal pace of the day go unseen or unnoticed or untouched by the breath. So, yeah, taking a minute or 2 or 5 to do something like that, anytime good for you, that's one option. If you felt that, then if you felt it being good for you physiologically, yeah, there's whole books written on that. I like to think about, again, just, does it make me more so? You know, I'm already so, right? Now here I am, so in front of you. But how do I know if I'm really being present with you all? That's a question only you yourself can answer and only I can answer for myself. But it is something we do. We can take notice of it for other individuals, maybe. You know when someone's not really present to life, and we know when we're not that way. So I'd like to think of it as, it's not like we're improving ourselves. This is not a self-improvement talk. This is not ways to be better than who you are today. This is about being who you are today and working with that self, that center of who is present. You really can't breathe 50 years into your ideal future self that you have in your mind. You can only breathe with this current body, this current mind that you have. Okay, I'll say the 3 things that, in the light of practice, I always have kind of floating around the back of my head. These 3 things help to keep. We'll go over some more modes of practice, and again, I'd like to know who's in the room with me more than anything. Questions are always welcome. Conversation, I think, it's the component of relationship, and that's what we're all doing here together. Is first and foremost relating with ourselves. That's this element of self-practice, but I do that so that I can practice knowing what's going on inside myself, let's say communicating with that deep center in me to know what's going on, so that I can more accessibly communicate it with others and be more present in relationship. Not perfectly so. Again, this is not a course of being perfect or better or anything like that. This is about, I heard the word imperfect, it is my favorite word, already said by Marty today, something you read. we are practicing with our beautiful imperfect selves. If you have if you feel perfect, I often joke, I don't think I know anything perfect except the right angle. If you've ever done housework, yeah, sure, there's a degree of perfection that is necessary to build a house, but there's still always going to be drafts and things to work on continuously throughout a lifetime if you are a homeowner. So we all have our own house that we're walking around with, this abiding presence, if you will, that is inside of us. So the three things: openness, kindness, and honesty. Let's take that first practice as an example. Am I open to knowing how this feels inside of me? Am I allowing myself to say to myself, this is weird, or this feels really good? Or does anyone have any extra thoughts that I'm not including at this moment? Like, is that just... Not everyone could have felt exactly so cool about that, right? Was that the case? Should we just do Qigong every Sunday together? Maybe. We're just open... All right, okay, there's a book written by Shunryu Suzuki, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. He wrote it in the title. That's what it is, Beginner's Mind. Okay, if you live, I hear people do live far from here, so if you've driven down the same road 1,000 times, let's say it's 50-mile roads through the Jersey Pines, which I grew up in, I love so much, and which I recently got chiggers into, and that's well, it's part of the love, right? We have to include it all. We have to, part of this openness is including it all, and so doesn't mean we don't learn, Next time I'll learn that what's biting me, I might want to take more note of that fire. It was camping with friends. I can't be that bad at it. But, okay, so back to beginner's mind. Even though I've driven down the same road 1,000 times, I'm still going to watch out for deer. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert at this road. I can't say I know it all completely. It's a new day. It's a new everything. Everything is new about this moment, continuously. Ad nauseum. It'll drive you mad if you think about it. So don't think about it too much into the future. Think about it just present, right now, in this moment. Here we are. It includes all of who we are, whether or not we're happy or sad or whatever. The moment always includes the fullness of who we are, even if there's only one thing presenting at the moment. So I think about it as getting open to know these other parts of ourselves, that I could just say, it's getting to know ourselves so that I'm not always upset when it's not my way. How do I act externally? How do I present myself? Okay, where should I start with this one? Openness can go so many ways. I'll stick with beginner's mind. It's worth it not to think you know everything in life. Is that obvious enough? Because then your mind closes down to learning something new. So just to keep our minds open is the practice. That's why this little thing of doing the mind down to the body. Sometimes the body knows best. Think about walking, you don't have to think about it. Right? Obvious enough. It's not that we want to shoo our mind away. And by the way, none of our meditation practices will ever tell you this is about clearing your mind or not having thoughts. No, it's actually about seeing what's there, and that's what this idea of openness is all about. And then comes in honesty. Am I being honest about what I see? About maybe something I like or don't like? Doesn't mean I have to judge it. That's something we work on with kindness. But we have to at least be open and honest to who we are in this moment. And maybe it is worth, quote-unquote, improving upon. Maybe that just means not showing up so emotionally charged to Christmas or Thanksgiving, two recent examples in my own life. It just means knowing ourselves in ways that we don't even always like, or we feel like anxious or nervous about. This is another reason we practice with the body, by the way. Anxiety and nerves. I was reading this Qigong book recently, and they prescribed, let's say, Qigong, these practices of movement, alongside some other medications, let's say 3,000 years ago, whatever those medications may have been. And I'm reading about these patients who had anxiety and fears and things they would take to their doctors. And so it made me relate with them and go, oh, look at them, they were just as anxious as I was too. Like, we are just humans along this big string of humanity continuing as I'm speaking, as I'm having a child, by the way, which is pretty cool. I do think about that in the continuation of things. All right, forget that. He's not here yet. He'll be here soon. And then I'll have to unleash my madness upon him a little bit at a time. I'll try not to go too hard. Anyways, so wait, before I go any further, am I making sense? Like, to reconnect, I see a lot of people. I need to check in with myself. I go off the rails. I take in the fact that I'm imperfect and I'm just trying. But I think I show up best that way when I engage with people, because it's just acknowledging how human we are. So yes, I do carry fears, anxieties, real responsibilities, fake things in my head that don't exist that drive me insane, memories of the past that drive me insane, not literally insane, but you know what I mean, that quality of, okay, you know what it is to feel nervous, and that's one of the reasons we practice in some physical ways too. We want to include this physical body because it's one of those ways we'll pick up on if we're nervous or not. You can feel it down your spine. I know myself, if I get nervous, like right now, just a little bit, and I don't really mind it. It's familiar to myself now. Feel it just like almost goosebumps quality across the skin. So in this way, I get to practice in knowing that's what's going on inside me. So I can say comfortably, a little bit more comfortably, hey look, I'm nervous. Here I am with you all, human being. Look at that. Look at what we all are. So, anyways, I thought we would try at least one more practice. And the idea is not necessarily to be good or get good at any of this. No, it's just the idea of practice because, okay, if I were to jump up to a free throw line with a basketball, unless I had an extreme bout of beginner's luck, I would most likely miss. Very, I don't know if I'd hit the back of the board is what I'm saying to you. It's because I don't practice. It's not my game, doesn't matter to me, that's cool. I like other things. I wanted to play on the drum a little bit while you were going, Gina, but I didn't want to disturb you. I like what I like, and this is not about liking everything or being good at everything. But when it comes to being present, we'll revisit that first thing I said and why I think it's worthwhile. You have your own experience. You are your own person. You know yourself better than anyone. You don't have to hide away from anybody, nor do you have to reveal your full self to everybody. This is not a black or white issue. We're living in the gray zone of being human all the time. And so, why I believe it very pertinent for myself to at least practice, again, I'll call presence in my own life, is just because, I'd like to be more so of his Tedness out in the world, or holiness, or whoeverness, it's just, this gift of the presence, it is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to others. So, anyways, the more we can practice that, the more we can have more of that. Yes, a question. Thanks.
How do you go about forgetting the past? I know it's all oneness and all today, but how about all the other stuff that we went through?
Yeah, thanks for making me cover this. I don't, just like I said, not black and white. I have to remember that we all come from different, what we know, what we've heard, what we've come to believe, and all that. So when I say that, I'm seeing it the way I think it, right? But I should explain further. Thank you. Here we are in the present that includes everything there ever was and ever will be. It's weird to think about. That's why I said our feet are kind of carrying this lineage before us. This is not, I wouldn't say this is all about forgetting the past, but it's also not about drumming it up either. It's kind of, if there is something that comes up repeatedly from my past or your past or whoever's working with something, it means there's something there that might be still worth taking a look at and maybe learning from, or if it involves another person, communicating that with that person about, or not, that's still having a choice to do so. But we do always carry the past with us. There's no separating from my dad, despite, we love each other, luckily, but it's not the closest of relationships, right? And I can't help but remember some of the stuff that maybe I am still carrying. I've done a lot of work around it, let's say, but yeah, sure, maybe there were times when I certainly carried more resentment, or even his own voice inside my head. I realized, where is this desire coming from? Oh, it turns out it's not mine at all. That's something my dad had planned for me. interesting. Just interesting to get to know that, to see it for myself, so that I could experience the possibility then of having my own plan for myself or desire. So, no, not at all about forgetting the past. Again, not about clearing the mind, but rather being open to it and practicing letting it touch our systems, which is to say, our whole thing here, mind, body, soul, everything. The more we can encounter in a safe and kind way, through safe means of practice, letting these things touch our system, like I say, so that we become familiar with them, and a little bit more resilient. I won't say resilient in a tough way, in a kind of this way, pushing away. No, it's more like welcoming it and then deciding what's true from there. You know, I'll take in the information. I'm open to the information that I may receive in a meditation or from a healer who I'm talking to, which is akin to a therapist, let's say. Having a relationship with someone to help you talk about yourself. No new thing, by the way. Yeah?
Please speak to us of the pressures from other people to be less than true to ourselves.
Pressures from the other people to be less than true to ourselves. Excellent. They're probably never going to end, right?
I haven't noticed.
It's a great reason to work on my own personal center of things. I see it in the back. Thanks for having a question. I think can I spend time with this one a second more? Yeah. It's an endless well that I'm dipping into here to go and know myself. Because again, we're different in each moment, and we do evolve, and we do have different thoughts, and we change over a lifetime. And that's great that the more we can allow ourselves to receive change and just be open to more and more presence of ourselves. Great. This is not about giving anything more than what we want to give to somebody else. So, in a sense, we're strengthening this sense of our center the more we come into contact with it. The more I step up to the free throw line to shoot the basket, I'm going to make it more. Yeah, that's just through sheer practice. Again, this is the way I've experienced it, because I encountered tremendously difficult times of not knowing a darn thing about myself, or, again, whose outcomes were in mind for myself other than my own, let's say. And so, yeah, I had to kind of cozy up to a lot of uncomfortability about who is in here, and how much does that mean I should I'm not doing anything to go on purpose out of my way to brush someone else away, but still be able to stay within my center and then more effectively communicate what it is that I have in mind for myself with someone else. And if they're not willing to listen, suggest she go on to them, I don't know what to tell you. We can't control, some of the hardest stuff about this path is you can't control anybody else. So this won't be about the other person, unfortunately. This is all about yourself when I'm talking. That's a hard pill to swallow. Thanks for bringing that one up. Yeah. Hey, my friend in the back.
You answered what I wanted to hear.
I'm also psychic. No, that's not
Because you have to center yourself within your mind, body, and soul.
I'm going to remind us of the word imperfectly, if that's okay. Because, what do you expect? Perfection all the time? Because the truth is, if you do of yourself, you might expect that of somebody else. And that's why it's worth getting to know. If that's who you are, I know myself, I can count myself in that bucket. If you have been demanding more like a perfection of yourself, get to know that part of yourself. Cozy up so that you can do it in perhaps a more kind way. See whose demands are inflicting upon yourself. See if they serve you. These are all the questions that are just happening that I'm sure will come the more you practice. And the thoughts just arrive, don't they? It's not like you ever think, I'm going to think this now. No. What? You feel that, right? No, we have to work with whatever comes up, and that's where that's where I come in with the honesty thing. I'm just trying to see, am I ignoring any thoughts here? Or am I being honest about what does crop up in the old mind? And then I welcome that into the center. You work on it from there. And if that just means breathing with it, maybe it is something true. It's something we can act on, by the way. This is the part of us that includes our future self. These are decisions this is information. All it is information in the present moment. We can decide what to do with it. So if it's something you do want to act on, well, perhaps the clarity comes more by meeting it right where you're at, and then seeing what you'd like to do with it from there. Should we do one more practice before we get really into stuff? Because this is all high up talk stuff. This is nowhere else again, but right inside yourself. So we're going to do 3 minutes. I do this to every class of mine. So don't feel like I'm singling out our group here today, you can take I need a sip of coffee. I think coffee is such a key part. Coffee and consciousness, am I right? You know? Here's my phone. We're going to do an honest 3 minutes. I'm going to set the timer. When I go into meditations, I try not to guide them because it's your experience. So I'm just going to say some of that first and foremost to set this up for ourselves, for yourself. Feel yourself planted in the seat. Notice your own physical, it's funny, everyone goes into prep mode. Cool, do it. Make yourself comfortable. The Buddhists go like, they walk around with a stick and hit you if you weren't sitting upright. I'm not going to do that. But this is because they say posture and breath. So when I tell you posture and breath, all I mean is comfort so that you're not so distracted by physical, just sit comfortably and breathe. Breath is always there. It's the it's the easiest way I know that I can communicate to you about finding the present moment. Your breath is only existing right here and now. Mind, body, soul. So before we really start, I'll tell you just the background. This is called arriving as you are. This is a practice in itself. We'll only do 3 minutes. Arriving as you are is exactly that. There is no other way for you to be right now. Your mind does not have to be clear. It does not have to be thinking on anything. Your breath is there for you, though, if you decide to have some sort of object in mind. I'll start our 3 minutes. I'll have just a few more seconds of brief instructions, but really, then it's silent practice if we can hang with that. I think we can. I have a lot of trust in all of us. I really enjoy our time here together already. It's something special. So our 3 minutes has begun, and we are allowing ourselves to arrive as we are. It doesn't mean perfectly. In fact, there's no expectations for how we should or would or could arrive. This is taking stock of who is here, right here and now. Simply notice it. Our breath is there. If you'd like to have something to focus on. But other than that, allow your curious self to be here with you, just to see what's floating around physically, emotionally, mentally. There's no one direction you should be or have to go. This is about arriving as you are, just like you walk through the door. At the end of our 3 minutes, we'll have the bell. Just about a minute left, and the reminder is simply, there's no other place you have to be. We're allowing ourselves to exist just as we are. no rush to come back, just kind of taking in what that experience was for yourself. As individuals, we all had a unique one, so good, bad, indifferent. If there was any information that was worth taking note of, great. If it was just a moment to sit there and breathe and practice being as you are, great. I should really finish the thought from time to time, though. So on the Father note, on the including the past and present and the future, all I meant to say was, all of our parents, those are genes that walk with us every day. So here we are. We're part of the living past, so to speak. That's all I wanted to say. Nothing we can ignore. It just is. So, yeah. But anyways, any questions on that practice? Just anything you'd like to share, not that you have to. I mean, some people we do that with, it's the first time they've ever taken a minute to themselves. So, yes, ma'am.
It just went very quickly. Sometimes when I think of a minute even, it just drags on. But
Depends on the minute.
it just went very quickly. I got very comfortable and,
That's pretty cool.
I liked it.
Beginner's luck. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I say that because it's always like, that's great. And we're open to the next one too. Open to the next practice. Open to the next one. Because it might not be. And for some of us, maybe it wasn't. And we're just, that's all I'm saying. So I'm happy for you though in that moment. Yeah. How long do we have here together? All day? When would we like you to finish? Because I have a few things I'll say.
Is the clock back there?
Yeah, what time do you think we should? I'll start wrapping up, you think? Very good. So the idea is this. There's a million practices out there. They don't exist in all the forms of the formal stuff, like Buddhist stuff. That was a pretty much Buddhist Zen meditation, by the way. There's a whole lot of different traditions we can draw on and go learn for yourself. And yeah, I do like to make myself available. It is East Coast meditation. I got that name because I read a lot of Native American books and stuff. It's not like I have a Native American teacher, but the idea of the East Coast is this is where the sun rises every day. And so we look at a moment that way. We look at a breath that way. That's how I interpret it. And it's just my hope to I've worked with a lot of kids over the past year, a lot of adults too, and I don't have a preference on who I work with. I just think we're all worth working with, at the very least for ourselves, to acknowledge that there's a center of presence in each and every one of us. And I will repeat, that's the greatest gift you can give yourself or somebody else, is your presence in this lifetime. So think about day to day what that means for you in your life. I felt very connected to this, I want to call it a church, but what is it? This place is... Space. So I'm going to take space. This space's messages, just reading online what Marty and I talked in depth about when we first met. Yeah, by the way, one more thing. This is why I don't write scripts about what I'm going to say, because sometimes I learn something new in the week. I did say it already, right? Spirituality? Yeah. Okay. The definition of spirituality? No? Okay. See, this is why I learned it this week, so it's like, if I wrote it down, I wouldn't have had this to share with you all. It was always a weird term for me. I don't like to use it even when I say, and I will say, namaste to you all at the end, it just means that center of me honors, reflects, loves that centered in you. That's a practice in itself. Spirituality, I looked it up on, and per the good book, The Gospel of Google. Anyone could do that. The English term, spirituality, comes from the Latin spiritualitas, which springs from the noun spiritus, which means breath of life, for your own self. That's all it is. We're working with our own self, getting to know that person that is worth getting to know. All right, that's cool. That's a good way to end. Thanks for sharing some of that practice with me. Any more questions, you can reach out after today, too. That's why I told you the information. East Coast Meditation is the easiest way to find me. I'm Ted. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, everybody, for your presence. And that's all we got. Thanks very much. Namaste.
So everyone can rise in body and spirit for number 1064, Marty's favorite, Lupo Cone. He even has a painting that he's going to bring in show and tell sometime. Okay.
Thank you. And thank you, Ted. We appreciate your presence.
You can copy me.
Let's read the words together for extinguishing the shallows.
We extinguish the flame, not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
What wondrous love is this, oh my soul, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this, oh my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, of my soul. It takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, and I was sinking down, I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's ground. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and to all friends I will sing, to love and to all friends I will sing, to love and to all friends who pain and sorrow bear, with thanks to the end I will sing, with thanks unto the end I will sing. I will
There are a few announcements for this week. There will be a Faith Action meeting on Monday, January 16th, tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. Contact Janet Longo for more information. The men's group will meet on Wednesday, January 18th at 6:30 p.m. at the center. Come for the beer and fellowship. Meetings will begin at 7 o'clock. All men of the congregation are welcome. The soup sale will be returning Sunday, January 29th. It has been a while since we have had this fundraising event, and this time the proceeds will benefit our own UUC SJS. We need volunteers to make this delicious homemade soup. provided by the front entrance and returned by January 29th. Soup can be frozen. If making soup is not for you, we welcome bread or other baked goods to add to the sale. Questions? Contact Barb Morrell or Janet Londo. Are you interested in volunteering as a worship associate? If so, please see Deb Dagadarian after the service. No special skills are required, just a willingness to stand up here and speak on Sunday morning. Join us next Sunday for Reverend Charlie Dietrich for Let It Be a Dance. A wise analyst once noted that there are only 3 fundamental stories. Someone went on a journey, a stranger came to town, and Godzilla versus Magashek. How is finding our center like finding our story? Retired minister Reverend Charlie Dietrich has some ideas. After a first career as a television system designer, Charlie Dietrich changed directions, attending Star King School for the ministry in Berkeley, California, and then interned for 2 years in New Orleans. He was ordained by the UUC SJS on September 30th, 2012, served in the congregation for 3 years. He then moved to Norfolk, Virginia and Erie, Pennsylvania, then retired home to Kingston in central New Jersey. Although no longer a parish minister, Charlie remains active in the UU Trauma Response Ministry, uutrm.org. We warmly welcome all of you who are visiting us today. Parents are encouraged to stay for the final moments of worship and to retrieve their children from downstairs after the bell has sounded. Now let us share in a moment of silent reflection to consider today's message and the meaning it has in our lives.